start with you. Do you have any reporting on where or how the two newly released hostages are right now?
Right, Nicole. So they were released by Hamas into the custody of the International Committee of the Red Cross. The Red Cross then took them to the Gaza border, where they were met by Israeli troops. They were taken to an Israeli military base in central Israel. And as the Secretary of State indicated just a minute ago, we are expecting a team from the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem to get to them. Now, it is not clear exactly what kind of medical condition both Judith and Natalie are in. That will obviously be the first priority, making sure that they have all the medical care they need after what has undoubtedly been just a harrowing 2 weeks for them since they were taken on October 7th. And the priority after that, reunite them with their family and then get them home to Evanston, Illinois. I can tell you, Nicole, this unfolded over a series of hours starting at 7:42 p.m. local time, 12:42 Eastern. We got an update from Hamas saying that they were about to release what they called some important news, and it was followed shortly afterwards by simultaneous statements in English and in Arabic, which is important. This was a carefully choreographed PR move by the terrorist organization Hamas. This statement in English and in Arabic saying they were releasing an American mother, an American daughter. They framed it as a humanitarian gesture, and they also framed it as a rebuke of President Biden's comments that he made when he was here in Israel earlier in the week. He condemned Hamas. He condemned the atrocities. Nicole, you may be able to hear, we are hearing just the thunderous sound of what we think are Israeli airstrikes in northern Gaza. Literally, the glass of our hotel is shaking here. Wow. We're safe. There's no sirens, but it underscores that even as this delicate hostage diplomacy is continuing, the war continues also. But the fact that there are 200-odd hostages in Gaza has been a massively complicating factor for Israeli decision makers trying to figure out how and when to launch this expected ground offensive. And it may very well be, Nicole, that Hamas succeeds in what appears to be its goal here, which is by releasing two hostages, they raise the prospect of, well, if Israel delays the ground offensive by another day, could another couple of hostages be delayed? And another day's delay, could that lead to more? So as Secretary Blinken indicated, there clearly are secret negotiations underway, back channels being worked with the Qataris in this case, possibly with other third parties in other cases. But if you are in Israel's war cabinet tonight, one of the questions you are facing is, does giving the order to invade Gaza preclude any hope of further releases like the one we're seeing tonight? Nicole.
I've written down everything you just said. I mean, this carefully choreographed PR move and the release in English and Arabic and the rebuke of President Biden's speech, it just brings home that so much of what drives the terrorists now is their own reflection in social media and in the international headlines. And I wonder if you can sort of play it back the other way for me. How is the release of two American hostages by Hamas in a highly welcome development, how is that being received by the families of the Israeli hostages?
Well, the Israel Hostages Family Forum, which is kind of an umbrella group, put out a pretty short statement. They say they, of course, welcome the release of these hostages. They are full of joy for the families of these hostages. And in the same breath, they say there are 200 people being held inside of Gaza, the old, the young, the sick, the wounded. As you and I talked about the other night, Nicole, there is an 8-year-old boy named Ohad who is turning 9 on Monday. He is one of some 20 children being held right now by Hamas inside of Gaza. So these families were quick to underscore that just because 2 Americans have been released does not absolve Hamas of what they call the war crime of holding these 200-odd. Nicole, there was a very powerful symbolic moment in Tel Aviv earlier. The families of the hostages set a vast Shabbat table. It's sunset here, sundown here. We're into Shabbat, the holy day in the Jewish faith here. They set a vast Shabbat table with 200 places for the 200 hostages who should be at their families' own Shabbat tables tonight and instead are being held captive in Gaza.
I have that image up on our screen now before the breaking news of the Secretary of State's press conference importantly broke over to the top of the hour. We plan to start with these images. It gets me back to one more question I have for you, Raf. How is what is sort of the psyche of the nation tonight? Tomorrow will be 2 weeks since this heinous terrorist attack.
You know, Nicole, Israel is a nation with nuclear weapons. It is the strongest military power in the region, but it is just undeniable that Hamas is in control of the tempo right now. You and I talked a couple of nights ago about when Hamas released that first hostage video of this 21-year-old woman, Mia Shem, French-Israeli citizen, and within seconds, almost, of this video being released by Hamas, it was all over Israeli national television, people watching in horror. They knew this moment was coming, and at the same time, the family is telling our own Lester Holt, the family of this young woman telling our own Lester Holt, that for all the agony of seeing their daughter in captivity, in pain, pleading for her life, there was the joy of knowing that she is alive. It is Shabbat tonight. The Israeli government normally does not communicate on Shabbat. It doesn't put out public statements. We don't normally see the prime minister. But Hamas put out this statement. They released the hostages. And pretty soon you had the Israeli military spokesman on television. You had a statement from the prime minister's office. And it shows that Hamas has gained a lot of leverage here. They see these people as human bargaining chips. And they will continue to play those chips in whatever way they think most benefits their cause. Nicole.